Okay, so Lauren, so glad to have you here. Go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay, well, hi everyone. My name is Lauren Wag. I'm a therapist at Colorado Teen Therapy, located just outside of Denver. We are an office that works primarily with teens, kids ages like 10 all the way up through 21. So we do see some college students. And I personally really enjoy working with eating disorders, anxiety, depression, see a range of clients. But I think I really fell into eating disorder work and being really passionate about it when I kind of just was able to witness, as a camp counselor and growing up, the relationship that other people have with food. And then learning in my adult life that that's not necessarily healthy or normal to view food like that and in those ways. And so wanting to be a part of, a teen's journey in learning that all foods can fit into their diet and that there is health at every body size and in all people. And so that's kind of how I fell into it. In the past few years have been a journey about just educating myself a lot more, doing webinars, reading books, things like that, to help be the best provider I can.
Yeah, that's awesome, Lauren. I think I'm excited to have you because I think it's for adolescents, and specifically your passion with working with adolescents is that those years are extremely formative. And I also think they're extremely difficult because of certain things that we'll be chatting about today that makes it really confusing for kids growing up to understand what is a healthy relationship with food, what is a healthy relationship with body image, because a lot of those things that they are seeing in social media and magazines and family members doing or preaching, it can just be really confusing because especially with those with eating disorders who are trying to recover from their eating disorder but are seeing disordered ways being promoted and even applauded.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so difficult because I think diet culture has just kind of taken over everywhere. You can see it in the grocery store, in how people talk on Monday mornings, how people in a workplace engage. Just it's so just relevant in our lives, and it's hard to sort out where that lies in your own relationship with food and your body.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. That's when it's just it's so confusing. It's confusing recovering in a world that really is that just kind of goes against the ideas of recovery, to trust your body, to trust food. But then here's all these diets that are okay. So it's just super confusing to sort that out. So I'm excited to chat with you today, specifically on some of these things and specifically with teens. So the first thing I wanted to ask you about and what we want to chat about is social media and its impacts. So I'm curious, what do you see with social media? How do you see that it impacts your clients, and in what ways? I would say negatively and maybe even positively if you see that.
Yeah, I think in this age, so many people are just on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. There's such an availability to connect with others. And I think that's a huge positive, and seeing teens use it really positively in those ways of being able to connect with their best friends, especially while we're all stuck at home right now. It's been kind of this great outlet. But then when it kind of comes up in session related to disordered eating habits or how clients are relating to their own body, oftentimes those comments aren't necessarily I love social media because I'm connecting. It's, well, I saw this social media influencer and they looked like this, so I should look like that. Or just that constant comparing of this peer at my school has this type of body and I don't. So what does that say about me? And starting to kind of question their own bodies by comparing it to others, whether that is a celebrity or an influencer or just friends at school that have different body types, because bodies come in all different shapes and sizes. And so whether it's seeing well, other people have good muscles and I don't, or other people are this size pants and I'm not, there's just so much opportunity for comparison, which has been really hard. And then also add in influencers who are earning money by advertising products on whatever social media platform they're using, and not necessarily knowing the full background of the products they're advertising, or being clear that like it's not something they use or how it'll affect their life. And so kind of this blind mentality of like, oh, well, I saw this influencer drinking this juice cleanse, so now that's all I'm going to eat for a few days, because like other people are doing it too, and we're only seeing a picture, and like they could have gotten paid for that. That might not be something they do. And so just like this blind consumption of, I see other people like posting their healthy salads, and so that's all I can eat, when like that person might have posted just a salad and then had a cupcake after because that's what the taste preference wanted. And so I've seen a lot of it like that. Like we can portray these aspects of ourselves on social media, and that's kind of what teens can latch onto as like normal life, when it's not necessarily the normal of the person
Right.
The person projecting that, or it's someone who's not open about like their own eating struggles, and like maybe is in an unhealthy body and working on their own journey of kind of hashing out like where diet culture is in their own life. And that's not something we see. We just see the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry if you hear my typing. I have like follow-up questions I'm typing out so I don't forget, because you hit on so much there. And man, it really like tugged on all my heartstrings, because it's so hard to see that. And you and I growing up, the same thing was available, but through magazines. And I remember just, you're trying to learn as you grow up, of course. That's why we compare. That's why we take these things in, because we're trying to understand the world around us. Comparing is just a normal, natural human thing to do, to understand. But when we're only seeing one message, if you think back to in the age of like teen magazines, which I'm sure they're still around, but like teen magazines, and you're just seeing one type of body, diets being discussed, a lot of shaming of body types, or good and bad food, good and bad body types, just in trying to understand that, you're soaking that all in, and it's just you're very impressionable, just because you're still learning about these things and still learning about yourself. Lauren, I think, there, you there? Okay. He just went out for a little. But yeah, so it's very impressionable. It's difficult growing up, and it's confusing. So I don't know, it really made me feel a lot of the feels. But yeah, I guess I would ask, like, so for those individuals, what would you suggest? How do you usually, when talking about this comparison, and the tendency to compare, I love that you said one of the first things is like, you can't assume what this picture is showing. I know, and and I wonder if I can find the study and link it below, but there was this one study where they interviewed social media influencers and bloggers, and who blogged about food and body image, and like these health inspo type bloggers. And they found that many of them, like a very high number, I remember a very high number had disordered eating, and also a relatively high number had an eating disorder. So you never know the relationship with food, but behind the picture. So, oh, Lauren, I think I lost you again. You there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
perfect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I'll try to find that, and I'll link it below. But yeah, I'm curious. How could teens watching this, how can they start, I guess, just having a better relationship with comparing or understanding this? So what do you usually chat about with them? What would you recommend?
Probably one of the main things I say is this quote that I found somewhere on Instagram that I don't know who said it. It's really simple. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
It'll take a lot from you and probably won't give you too much back. And so talking through like what that might mean to them, of like helping teens recognize like where that comparison is harming them, of like, I was happy with my body till I went on Instagram today and saw other people's pictures and things like that. And then taking that conversation of like how the people they follow on their social media accounts is affecting their relationship with themselves and with food, and then working on, I know this is something we've talked about, like cleaning up their feed. So like if you're following influencers that don't feel good about yourself, don't follow them. You don't have to, like, you don't owe them anything, and replace that with maybe some body positive accounts, or like Hayes dietitians that project like really healthy relationships with food, or just accounts that will kind of stop you that comparison to other people's like bodies, and kind of reroute those brain patterns into like, I can have a healthy relationship with food and with myself, like exactly where I am today.
Yeah. I think planting that seed is just important. I don't think, adolescents or people hear that like, oh, I don't need to be following this. I don't need to be idealizing this. So kind of just having them reflect back on, why are you doing this? And how is it making you feel? Because I think a lot of people would be like, well, I'm not quite sure why. I just know that's something I might want, because I'm being told I should want that. And how is it making them feel? Many times it makes them feel not worthy, and to kind of question like, well, then is that something that we actually want to be doing? Because then the intention, just kind of like I would compare it to body checking, the intention to body check to reduce anxiety actually just raises anxiety. And I would say the same thing about social media, trying to understand through social media and then feeling just more confused and more down on themselves. So I think that's great. And I think filling your feed and seeing all of these people with healthy relationships with body and food and promoting that, then you see there's this whole other world out there that you might have not known existed, that could be possible and bring you a much more joy and happiness, and trust within yourself. And so that's amazing. Yeah. Do you have any resources you would recommend?
And I think like as I've felt,
we keep being lagged. Go ahead. So what were you going to say?
Yeah. Okay. So first I was going to say like, especially like I've fallen into the TikTok trap recently. And so spending a lot of time on there, and TikTok is kind of, before I got on it, I knew it as like, it's just like skinny girls in crop tops dancing, and like it could project like a really unhealthy body image. And TikTok has this For You page that's kind of like your homepage that just gives you videos that they think you might like. And you can actually help like adjust the algorithm that puts videos on your page by, you can hold down a video and say not interested, and then starting to like and only watch videos that do make you feel good about yourself. So like finding those body image, like positive body image accounts, or like dietitians or therapists that you think like will promote the right type of relationship with food that you want, and then starting to like those videos, watch those more, and it'll adjust your algorithm to give you more videos related to that, rather than potentially like harmful videos to your own body image.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I know you can do the same for Instagram. Some of those things still pop up, but you can definitely manipulate your feed to get those things that are positive. Are there any accounts that you highly recommend for body positivity?
Yeah, I think there's, at least for TikTok, I found some really good ones that I can give you a list that you can post maybe below, of like some accounts that I've really liked enjoying following, to kind of break up that feed, especially on TikTok. And then, I mean, on Instagram, there's so many too that like, I know both of our like professional accounts have, like we follow those accounts. And so you can go to those as well to see who we follow. But instead of like listing them off that you have to write them down, I'll just send a list over that you can put below.
That sounds awesome.
But there are so many like resources for like creating positive social media, like relationships.
Yeah, definitely. There are so many, it's hard to start naming them because there's just such a wide variety of them. And really it's about, what that person connects with, and everyone connects with someone differently, or relates to content differently. So I would just say overall, with your content and what you're taking in, what's making you feel less than, and even if it's a positive thing, it might not be positive for you because it is still making you feel less than, and that might not be something that you would want to follow or would be helpful. So yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to know, like I think, to parse out like when those thoughts are starting to sink in with you, of like when you are feeling less than. And so if you're ever spending like some time on Instagram or any social media accounts, like checking in with yourself when you get out. How are you feeling about yourself, who you are as a person, how are you feeling in your body, and starting to just kind of get that recognition with your feelings so that like when it is coming up in the future, you can start to identify it a little easier.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. I feel like, yeah, many times we just unconsciously, we don't really know until we're like, ooh, I don't know, I don't feel very good. So checking in with yourself is super important. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for chatting on this. I think this is such an important conversation to have, especially for teens, but I think for everyone. So thank you for so much. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end this conversation here?
I think, I don't know, I hope like what we said was helpful and that you're able to take something from it and work on your own relationship with food and your body and like how that's showing up in your social media accounts. And like just know that like all body sizes are acceptable and like your body is your body and that is perfect just the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. It was great having you, and I'm sure we'll chat
Yeah.
soon.
Thanks so much.